Hi, Dr. Guang. At the beginning, please allow me to show my sincere gratitude to you and the cause. I don't know how to describe my passion and surprise for this cause. At the beginning of course selection, I just felt that this course was in line with the current education situation in China. But after studying this course, reading the books, I realized that its content is very vast and very valuable. It can not only improve our teaching methods, but also make us individuals happier. So before my speech, I want to say this is truly a course that has surprised me a lot. During the learning process, I constantly ask myself, how did my past self shape who I am now? And what should I do in the future? With these questions and interests, I have completed 10 survey questionnaires. So in my speech, I will choose 6 out of these 10 surveys to gain a deeper understanding of myself. This is the framework of my speech, divided into 3 parts. The first part, who am I and my past? I will show my childhood upbringing, the education I received, and the work I used to have been engaged in. And part 2, a very important part. I started to objectively evaluate my current self through this course, through the service. And in the third part, I will imagine what my future life looks like. Okay, speak of my past. Let's begin from my growing environment. My hometown is in the birthplace of孔子.孔子, yeah, you may heard about him. Shandong province, China. And from a young age, we place great emphasis on etiquette and order, which is heavily influenced by Eastern culture. So I think that's why I scored relatively high in agreeableness. Yes, I'm very considerate of others' feelings. And as for my education and work, I once obtained a master's degree in economics from a very good university in China, which enabled me to get a great job in Shenzhen, one of China's metropolis. I worked in marketing, a field that demands a lot of creative ideas. In this process, as I learned in our class, the only way to have a good idea is to come up with plenty of ideas. So I think at that time, I can be considered as a creative person. So I think I'm confident, creative, caring towards others while also focused on myself. But when I was learning this course, I usually ask myself, do I really understand myself? As you see here, I finished my first survey. Are you an adapter or innovator? My score is 93, which should be a fairly middle of the road level. However, in the subsequent related surveys, my scores tend to lean more towards innovative. I have to mention a key takeaway from the class, the 3 B's of creativity, which really shocked me. Yes, it reminded me of how many of my innovative ideas at work came to me while I was on the toilet. Yes, it's so funny. Yeah, it's true. When I was working on marketing plans before, many years ago, my many creative ideas came to me while I was going to the bathroom. At that time, I thought it was amazing and even shared it as a joke with my colleagues. But now I realize that it's the truth.
Nice.
As you see here, this is the theory of 3 B's. It turns out that the 3 key environments for creativity, bedroom, bathroom, and bath, they are really true. On this page, you can see my second survey, my Big 5 model of personality. And we can see from the graph that the highest score I got is in consensus. I always complete the tasks assigned to me at work very well, and I take good care of my family life. So yeah, in Chinese, 我是一个靠谱的人。 Lowest score is in neuroticism, which is exactly as I expected. With more work and life experience, I am no longer so nervous and sensitive. There is an old Chinese saying, 事缓则圆. That means things will turn out well if you don't rush. Many things do not need to be in too much of a hurry to get results. As for extroversion, introversion, there is some deviation from my expectation. My score here is higher than I expected. I think, which means I underestimated the power of past habits. So compare my past and present. I want to find what makes myself change. Yeah, the answer is marriage and have babies. In the past, I stay focused on my work, a lot of money and freedom, make friends and social action, something like that. But now, I stay focused on my family, and now focus on my study in NIE now, and change my work to be a language teacher now. In the past, I only had to deal with myself and my work. Now the environment I face is complex. Now I'm not only an employee, an employer, but also I'm a wife, a mother, a daughter-in-law. What is my self-value? So with this question that comes to survey 3, my personal value, the result above really illustrate what I go through now. You can see overall my score balanced. That what are those relatively high and above 6 points are security, self, their direction, and achievement. I think this is closely related to my life experiences and my innate personality. I have always been independent since I was a little girl, and even after getting married and having kids, facing a more complex life, I still maintain my sense of self and enjoy being alone. The lowest score is for hedonism. Yeah, so actually I quite envy those who know how to enjoy life, but I've decided to accept myself. Yeah, that's me. After I finishing so many surveys, I began to understand my present, who am I now. So, and I watched the movie哪吒yesterday, which really gives me the courage to face complex life. Yeah, compared with my past, my work and my life changed a lot now. I changed my job since I have 2 babies. I changed my work from creativity demand to less creativity demand. Balance work and family is a huge challenge. That's why I changed my job. As I mentioned at last page, I'm good at self-direction and welding achievement, so I decided to pursue my second master degree in NIE to be a better mother, a better teacher, a better myself. And speak of my marriage and care of children, marriage is very difficult. Yeah, there is an old Chinese saying that marriage is a woman's second life. It seems that the kind of husband you meet largely determines your life. However, the recent popular movie哪吒has a famous quote, "My fate is in my own hands, not in heaven's." After experiencing this, am I still happy? Am I a good teacher? How to be happier? Maybe these 2 surveys give me the answer. You can see from the results. Overall, I am a very optimistic person and I'm confident with myself. The last survey I want to mention is the teacher's attitude towards students. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, I'm now a Chinese language teacher, a part-time teacher, yeah. And this score on the scale indicates that I'm a relatively democratic teacher. I believe this is a positive trait, and I should strive to maintain this attitude. Now it's time to talk about my future. What should I do in the future? Yeah, first of all, I think continue to be a happy person and encourage students to be happy. Yeah, I have learned a lot of knowledge from our course about personality and happiness and how to be a happy person. as a teacher, for example, for students who are particularly high in conscientiousness, in Big Five model, I can help them to set goals and make them feel capable and confident. This is what we call the goal approach. As for me, I also use the table on the right to guide me to a happier state. This table is applicable to everyone. You can tailor your own methods for happiness based on your own situation. In addition, based on the PERMA model of happiness, as a teacher, we can do a lot to help our students feel more happier. For example, and help students identify their strengths, encourage classmates to point out each other's strengths, as I showing in this picture, and writing them down in a little notebook, and then share them with everyone classmates. Secondly, I want to be a more creative and democratic teacher and accept and encourage all the ideas of the students. Seriously discuss with them. Do not easily to say no. Help the students to overcome the fear of negative evaluation and ignore the feeling overwhelmed by problem. Just do it. What's more, deeply analyze students' Big Five model. Help them to modify their behavior according to their different personalities. For example, if the students who have high score in agreeableness, the teacher maybe can encourage them to work as a team. To take role play, find some new ideas through cooperation. Okay, that's what I want to say. Finally, I want to say the best day is not lost in the past, but exists in the future. Okay, thank you, Dr. Guang.